Hey, welcome back to our weekly budget builds. This week we're going to be finishing up the headers. All the paint's dry on them. We got our new gaskets here and we're going to install those. Try to get the mufflers back on and just make it a short little episode this week. Also, don't forget to stick around for the good news at the end of this episode. Okay, so we're going to be taking the tape off these header bolts here. Just pretty simple. They came out really nice. Got most of the rust off them. I didn't really hit them real hard with paint. I just wanted to keep rust from building up on them. So we got all of our bolts untaped and everything. So we got our header all painted now. It came out pretty good for just like a few coats and throwing them together real fast. Whenever I first bought that can of paint, I was worried I was going to run out. That one can was plenty. We actually still have quite a bit left in the can. If you're going to be doing like the headers and do multiple coats, I would maybe recommend getting 2 cans, but that one can did us the job. Okay, so we got our aluminum header gaskets here. I like these. They're pretty cheap. I'll put the link in the description below. I'm pretty sure you can reuse them. When I was lining it up on here, the only problem I was seeing is in one of the corners, it looks like it may cause some problems. We'll just see how they do. So this is our driver's side header. We're going to go ahead and install that real quick. We went ahead and we put that back bolt in, and it's just real tricky to get to. I would recommend taking the spark plugs out. Like in the last video, you know, you could drop the header and hit it. So what's nice about these aluminum gaskets is you're supposed to be able to start the front and back bolt. And then you should be able to just slide this in between there. Just like that. So you don't have to mess with holding the gasket on there while you're trying to get all the holes lined up. So we're going to go ahead and finish off putting the bolts in here. So we're going to start all the bolts just by hand to make sure the threads are good. Then we're going to use this Milwaukee electric ratchet to finish them off. Then we'll go back through the wrench and hand tighten them to make sure they're at a good torque. Okay, so now that I ran all the bolts down with my electric ratchet, I'm going to go through with my wrench. I'm going to tighten them by hand. I'm going to kind of do it in 2 steps. I'm going to tighten these middle ones first, work my way out. I'm going to do about half of tightening. I'm not going to torque them down with a torque wrench. You're just going to snug them, but don't go all the way tight on this first one. On the second round, I'm going to also start from the inside, and then I'm going to work my way out, and that's going to be the final tightening to snug them up. So while we're in here, I'm wanting to rewrap these wires to keep them protected from the heat. I got this Alex Tech. It's like a braided wire loom. Goes around your wires, keeps them protected from the heat just a little bit. It's better than having the bare wires sticking out everywhere. It also makes your build look pretty clean. I got this. It's 100-foot, 1/2 inch in diameter. Got it for like $10 off Amazon. I'll have the link in the description for you. What we're going to do is we're going to cut this to length, and we're going to put it on these wires and zip tie it. Just make it real clean looking so we don't have random wires going everywhere like we do now. Measurement for this, I'm going to just kind of stick it up to where it starts. I'm just going to slowly kind of measure it up to where everything is. I'm always going to use a little bit extra because you don't want to cut it too short and then you wasted that piece of this stuff. So I'm going to cut it right here. I haven't really figured out what I want to cut it with because whenever you cut it, it's going to fray, so I'm going to try a blade first. just to see how that does. This stuff is pretty tough. Get a bunch of frayed ends. I may take a lighter to that, kind of clean them up. But what you do is it's real skinny like this, and whenever you push against it, it opens up. So we'll start feeding this wire into it. It reminds me of like a Japanese or a Chinese finger trap. And there it is. So, like I said, I don't know if I want to take a lighter to that or not. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take just a little black zip tie. Get it real tight. Take a pair of side snips and just cut it off as close as you can. If you use a razor blade, you get a much better edge, because whenever you cut them with side cuts or something, they're gonna leave a really sharp edge, so when you're digging around in your engine bay, your arm will go across them and it'll scratch you, and it really hurts. So if you get a razor blade and cut it flush with the little square, it'll be a lot better. You can almost do it with this, but they're real scratchy on your arm. So we're gonna go ahead and put these on this side like we did on the other. So we got all the wires all put up there. I don't have them tied back yet, but we're still gonna be doing some work later. I'm gonna be pulling the tape off. So we're gonna go ahead and put this back on there and fire it up. So it says if the part is off the vehicle, bake it at 250 degrees for 30 minutes, then let it cool for 30 minutes. If it's on the vehicle, it says run at idle for 10 minutes, then cool for 20. Then the next step is run at idle for 20 minutes, and then let it cool for 20 minutes. Run under normal operation conditions for 30 minutes, then let cool. So what that's gonna do is it's gonna heat the paint up and activate it and kind of let it seat in and attach to the metal, make sure it won't flake off. Okay, so what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be starting the vehicle to put the headers through the heat cycle. It shouldn't take too long. Okay guys, this is going to wrap up this episode. It's a part 2 episode of the headers. Sorry it's nothing too exciting. We're actually waiting on some parts, and that's what we got to talk about. We got some really important stuff here happening. We contacted LMC and a parts company called Phytech. Phytech does a fuel injection kit, and LMC does a lot of truck parts. Phytech is actually going to send us an entire kit from the fuel injection all the way from the fuel lines and the fuel pump, and we're gonna get that. We're gonna make a really long season on that. We're gonna do the throttle body, we're gonna do the fuel system, and we're gonna do start and tune. That's gonna be a completely computer controlled fuel injection system for this truck. It's gonna be a 600 horsepower fuel injection kit, so that means it can take up to 600 horsepower. We'll get more into detail with that. We contacted LMC about the interior of the truck. The interior of the truck, we have the headliner hanging. We don't have any carpet. They asked me for its parts list, and I have a heat shield and a carpet kit. So we're going to do carpet in here. I also got front headlights, but we're still working with them. For sure, once we get those fuel injection parts, those will be on the way here soon. That's going to be a definite episode. We're not too 100% for sure on the carpet kit and stuff yet, but we are definite on the fuel injection. So look forward to that in some future episodes. Thank you guys for watching us. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter.